Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Okay, just ahead of Craig Button, let's see if I can get this right. All of our guests today brought to you by the Waddling Dog Pub, one of Victoria's favorite local watering holes, located 10 minutes from the ferry. The two-time #1 pub in Victoria invites you to see why they are a go-to watering hole. The Waddling Dog Pub has welcomed back the Canucks and the NHL season by extending their hours so you don't have to miss any of the action. Come sit and stay until the final whistle as we bring in, as we often do, on a Tuesday, TSN Scouting Director Craig Button. Craig, thanks for doing this. How are you, sir?
I am very, very well. How are you guys today?
Very well. Craig. Do you ever remember any bad viewing experiences at sporting events growing up in Montreal? Maybe the Autostad, Olympic Stadium, Montreal Forum, because of the seats you were sitting in?
I remember one day. I don't know if it was the seats. We were sitting at an Expos game in the Big O. And that's O spelled O-W-E because of anyway. And it was a beautiful summer day. The Expos were good, and the roof wouldn't open. And if it was 30 degrees outside, it was 50 degrees inside that thing. It was like we're sitting in a steam room. And I remember my friend Charlie and I were sitting there and we just said, we're out of here. We're out of here. And I think it was like the fourth inning, and it just killed us to leave an Expos game. We love going to the Expos games. And, you know, that was something I'll never forget because you felt cheated. You felt like, you know, you had spent money on a ticket, and it wasn't a great seat. It was a good seat. I will share another story with you. Similar time of my life. They had a concert, and the concert was Peter Tosh, Stevie Ray Vaughan, the Talking Heads, and Sting. And we did not have good seats. We did not have good seats. So we were trying to figure out how we could get down to the stadium floor, you know, near the stage. And of course, you try to, you know, try different things. Anyway, they had little tags on your hand, and you know, like kind of like that they'd stamp.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we kind of figured out. So we ended up, we saw a couple of these girls, and we asked them. We said we'd buy their mascara from them because we wanted to do this emblem on our hand. And so we bought the mascara. Probably we gave them $10 or something like that, which is a lot of money in the 80s. Anyway, bottom line is we got there, we flashed our hand right onto the floor, and we ended up about 20 feet away from the stage at this epic concert. So that was bad seats, got better. It only cost us $10 to upgrade. I like that idea.
But you see, Ryan, though, and we asked Craig about the quality of seats, the cushioning, or the color of the seats. He went on in another direction. Nobody cares about the cushioning of seats at a sporting event. Yeah. That's just my opinion.
What you're really saying, Donnie, is how soft Ryan is. He needs cushioning.
Yes, there you
cushioning.
Go. You nailed it.
He needs a cushy experience to go out and enjoy. Give me a break. Like, you know,
soft as a tissue, this guy.
To cheer your team.
Yeah.
Oh, Ryan.
You nailed it, Craig. He's the softest guy I know.
The people who sit in the comfortable seats at Rogers Arena tonight will see the debut, and I know you've talked about this player before on our show, the debut of Ethan Bear in a Canucks reverse retro uniform. What are the Canucks getting in Ethan Bear?
You know, I really like Ethan, and I hope that Ethan can perform well. And you know, this is a real opportunity for him. I mean, you know, in Edmonton, we saw how he fell out of favor there with the coaching staff. You know, similar things happen in Carolina. So, you know, sometimes the player needs, just a fresh set of eyes on him. And I think with the situation with the Vancouver defense, you know, and looking at it through Bruce Boudreau's eyes, you know, he wants to see a player that can come in and give some really good, productive, meaningful minutes to the Vancouver Canucks. You know, when you're looking down that bench at times and you're going, okay, how do I get that guy out there without, hurting our team or without putting him in a spot that he can't handle? So that's what I would say with Ethan's always been a really good competitor. One of the things that I think that as the game has become a little bit quicker and faster, players get to a certain comfort level with their own pace. The game doesn't allow you to play at a lesser pace. You got to really push it, and you got to push it with your puck movement, getting to a puck. He's not going to be an end-to-end guy, but if he can give Bruce and the Vancouver Canucks some just good, dependable, solid play, he'll be a welcome addition. But what I would say is, based on him not playing in Carolina this season, and give him a little bit of time to get acclimated to the team, number one, and to get up to speed, so to speak.
Craig, Ethan Bear's not the only new Canuck. Last week they also acquired a Jack Studnicka centerman, a young guy. Your thoughts on him?
I've always liked Jack. Jack is a really good skating player who he's never been hesitant to initiate things with that speed and to push back opponents. And you consider Boston, where he was, and this happens to players all the time. You sometimes end up in a spot where the opportunity isn't there, not so much because you don't have the ability, but maybe the opportunity wasn't the right one for you. Maybe what they needed didn't intersect with what you needed. And I think with Jack and the speed that he brings and that tenacity and intensity using that speed, I think it's something that any team would welcome. And I think that when you heard Jim Rutherford talk about how they'd been looking at this player for a number of years and how they value him, coming in and giving, and that's one of the things they were looking for in their group, in their forward group. They wanted more speed in their lineup, and certainly they got it with the signing of Ilya Mikheyev. Certainly Kuzmenko's got speed and skill, and another player with more speed in their lineup. When you're trying to add those things and you get players that have those attributes and have those qualities, well, now you see how they fit in. And I've always been a fan of Jack as a junior player. Had some really good, times in the American Hockey League and showed glimpses in the National Hockey League. Hopefully he gets some roots here in Vancouver and some footing and takes off from there.
Craig, Vasily Podkolzin, 14 goals last year, okay? Off to a tough start, no goals, 2 assists. 6 minutes against Seattle last week. He's on the fourth line now. What's going on there, and is it just going to require a lot of patience with this kid?
Yeah, I think there's always patience required with young players. In the case of Vasily, who we all know is a dyed-in-the-wool competitor and is going to do a lot of different things in the game to help you win and to help you be successful that don't always show up in the stat line, I think it's about, number one, getting him comfortable and making sure that he's still doing those things. And at the same time, pushing him to produce offensively because he is capable and trying to balance out what your team needs in a particular game, like you mentioned, the Seattle game, and what they see him being capable of doing longer term. I think that's an important aspect of development, and and patience is required, Rick, with respect to, push, but also nurture. And I think with a young player like Vasily, I think that's necessary because I've watched him for a long time, as you guys know, and you never have to worry about the intensity or competitive level of Vasily Podkolzin. And maybe sometimes that nurturing requires, just an understanding of him. Okay, a little bit more of this and be a little bit more assertive with your offense and still do the other things. And you get a real productive player there.
So much to talk about in the National Hockey League, Craig. Let's go here. The team that's in Vancouver tonight to play the Canucks, Devils have won 6 of 7. We all remember the start of the season. People in Jersey wanted Lindy Ruff out of there. Jesper Bratt on fire, 6th-round draft choice. What is going right with the New Jersey Devils?
A lot of things were going right when they were struggling at the beginning of the year in the one-loss column, and mostly what they were struggling with was getting some good, dependable, consistent goaltending. Well, when you got a lot of areas of your game in order, and they were pushing the tempo of play, they were getting quality chances, and Lindy, after one game, I forget what game it was, he said, if we keep getting looks like that, we got too much skill that we're not going to finish on that. And at the same time, make sure that you get the right save saves and from your goaltenders that don't have you chasing a game. And I think they found that balance. And there's no question that they're quick, they're fast, they have a lot of offensive ability, and they've gotten some really steady goaltending in this run here. So they're going to be a challenge for the Vancouver Canucks. I just talked about what the Canucks were looking to try to do to add some speed to their lineup. They're going to face a fast and quick New Jersey team, and it's a team now that's not just dotted with young players, hoping to get their opportunity and trying to get comfortable in the league. They're playing well, and they're not interested in just coming up short and saying, "Oh yeah, well that was good. We'll be better next game." We're learning, we're growing. This is a team that wants to find wins and success now, and they got the players to do it.
All right, 28 seconds or less. Craig, very quickly, Leafs, they've lost 4 straight. There's panic in Toronto. Is this a blip, or is there a long-term concern here?
Well, I don't think it's a well-constructed team. I think the blue line isn't well-constructed. I think that after their first 6 forwards, it's not well-constructed. And I think it's not I don't see it as a top-tier contending team. And they've been mediocre. And they talk about winning a Stanley Cup. They haven't won a playoff round. They talk about process. The process has been terrible. They've been mediocre. Panic's never going to work in any type of important decision. You got to be measured. But to me, they got to find a way to improve that blue line. And if they don't, then you start to look at other areas. I don't think the coach is the issue here. I think it falls squarely on management.
That was an excellent hit. And I'm looking at the chair that you're sitting in. It's all because of the comfort of your chair, according to Ryan Henderson. It looks really special. Thanks for this, Craig. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, thanks, you guys.
Yeah, you bet.